Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Get Up and Get Out podcast. This episode is sponsored by Pix Backpacks. Make sure to get your Pix backpack today. You can go over to the website at www.pixbackpack.ru. That's pixbackpack.ru. This week, we are talking to two English teachers from two different parts of the world. First up, we got Dom Vatovec from Australia. And then following him will be Edwin Salisch from Connecticut, back in the United States. First up is Dom Vatovec, a 53-year-old guy from Australia who's been coming to Russia for 10 years and currently works as a teacher. Following Dom is Edwin Salisch from Connecticut, and he also teaches English, mostly business English, here also in Moscow. Let's get into these wonderful conversations and see what we can dig up from these two wonderful guys. In the first part of this episode, we get to talk to Dom. We get to find out a little bit more about his life. Some of the highlights include him breaking up with his girlfriend, meeting his fiance, working with Russia's elite, being pickpocketed and jumped late at night. We also jump into a little bit of travel and his roots. We talk about traveling around other regions of Moscow. We get into banya, and that's a great story, so you got to stick around for that. And we get to talk about his future and what his plans are. I definitely want to say thank you for stopping in today. Give everybody just a little background about like who you are, you're here, how long, just an overview.
My name's Dominic Vatovec. I'm from Australia. I'm 53, and I've been to Russia. I've been to Russia for about 10 years. First, I came as a tourist, and then around about 2012, I started working here. And I started working by accident, actually. I met one.
You never wanted to work.
Well, ideally, yeah. To cut a long story short, one of my tourist tours, I met a colleague of ours that Hugh knows as well, and I overheard him and his colleague going on about they were half cut, and I was saying, don't ring your client now. This is going to be the most biggest professional F up that you'll ever imagine.
Right.
And I'm thinking, what's going on here? And then they looked at me and I looked at them, and then I started drinking with them, and then they started going on about working in Russia, and I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. And tell me how much they earn, and
right.
I thought, yeah, this is quite interesting, And at the time, I broke up with my girlfriend at the time in Australia, who happened to be Russian, and that's why I was over in Russia, because when I was going out with her, I was saying, well, why don't we go and visit Russia? She goes, no, if you ever go to Russia, we'll split up. I said, why? Because she was like a femme fatale. I think the Russians were glad they got rid of her. She was that type.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and
but it happened anyway.
It happened anyway. And I thought, you know what? I'm curious enough to go and check out the place, because the area I grew up in Sydney. I lived just down the road from a Russian Orthodox church, and there's a club there, and it was like an old school community. And it was always a mysterious sort of place. Like growing up, it was communist. It was the Iron Curtain. They're this stereotype, they're that stereotype. And I'm thinking, I'm curious enough to go and check out the place. And out of curiosity, I came here and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed checking out the places of Moscow and St. Petersburg, and I went to Ekaterinburg. I enjoyed the Russian soul, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like even married to a Russian, I can't explain it to somebody and they understand it. It's not mysterious. It's just hard to explain. It's easier just to feel it and understand it for yourself, because I think it's different. I think it's different for everybody. And just like any other, culture, human beings, we're all very different. We're all the same, but we're, and I think everybody gets that. We're the same. Yeah, we eat, we sleep. We have jobs, we have goals and aspirations. But how you go about that, what you think of yourself, maybe. I noticed that a lot of my Russian friends, they have a very high self-esteem of themselves, and sometimes it comes off a little cocky, right? So to the uninitiated, it comes off as like, oh, don't you think you're hot? And I think that's important, because we also have this what we call the immigrant mentality. So for America, if you get somebody like Gary Vaynerchuk, for example, who's a very big, famous guy in the podcasting YouTube world.
He's appearing on my Facebook page all the time now for some reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, he does a lot of stuff. He markets a lot on Facebook, and he's originally from Belarus. He's from Belarus, and he's got this immigrant mentality. It's this grit. You're going to do anything that you need to do to survive, right? And that's just built up over, we all understand what Russia went through, and that gets ingrained into you, and that becomes a part of the soul as well. When you have a government that did what it did to its own people, you start to fend for yourself, and when you bring that over to outside of that country to other countries, possibly good things happen. You're not going to look to the government for assistance. You're not going to look to other people. You're going to make your own way. And I think that's a part of that soul and how it plays out in each person's character. So you came here about 10 years ago.
Yeah, as a tourist.
And so you came for how long was your first visit?
Approximately about 2-3 weeks.
Okay, and how did you like it?
I loved it. I loved it. It's really strange. Like one of my friends in Sydney, from a Russian background, and she said, go and see my family. They live in Velika Peshmaya, which is a little town next to Ekaterinburg, which is now part of Ekaterinburg. It's expanded out. I said, yeah, sure. Okay, I'll go and visit them. And I stayed a couple of days in Moscow, and then I flew over to Ekaterinburg, and her sister met me at the airport. I didn't even know who
to look for.
Yeah. It was pre-smartphone day,
right?
Virtually, and
you finally met up with each other somehow.
Yeah, at the airport, we recognized each other just from an old printed photo.
Ah, okay.
And then all of a sudden, I'm in the car. We go out to this simple housing estate in the middle of nowhere. It could be in any town in provincial Russia. Then all of a sudden, I'm in a small room, a makeshift room, tables across, people sitting on couches. There must have been about 20, 30 people. And the table is just full of food. And it was all for me. And I'm just sitting there thinking, this is really weird. These guys have got no idea who I am, but they just welcome me as part of the family.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I stayed with them for about 3-4 days. The mum actually lent me her apartment. She stayed with her daughter for those 3-4 days.
Right.
And it was great. I had an absolute blast.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and that's that Russian
like
style.
I'm sitting there looking at the food. It was just total Russian spread, if you know what I mean. It was just everything.
I do.
Yeah, and the plonk as well. Yeah, the vodka, the beer, everything. And I'm just like flabbergasted, thinking, wow, only a couple of hours ago, I was walking the streets of Moscow, taking snaps, going to my hotel room. Last thing I would have expected a couple of hours later. But it was a pleasant surprise.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's a really, really good first experience.
Yeah.
So when was the next time you came back?
It would have been probably about a half a year later. I timed it mostly through the school holidays back in Australia.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm a school teacher by profession. And so,
Yay, school teachers.
Yeah.
Summer's off.
Yeah. And so if I have like a 2-week break, I might even take a couple of days extra, like 2-3 weeks here, whatever. I must have been here about 3-4 times as a tourist, and then came back working for an agency.
Okay.
Yeah, around about 2012. from then on. And I've been,
right around the time I came over.
yeah,
Okay.
and so I've been coming backwards and forwards since then.
And one of the interesting things about how you live and experience Russia is that you do stay for just maybe 1-2 years, and then you're off for back to Aussie for a year, year and a half, 2 years, and then you come back, and you've been doing that on and off since 2012. Pretty consistently.
Yeah. Well, I got on. Hugh actually set me up for a lovely school down in Panfordova, the Universitet Metro.
Yep.
And I got on really well with the director there, and she's very open with me, saying, you can come anytime you like. And just through certain circumstances, I had to go home and sort things out, et cetera, et cetera. But the last time, the reason why I've been coming back is trying to sort out my fiance's visa, and it's a real pain in the neck.
So you have a fiance now, and your fiance is Russian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're trying to sort out. Well, I wanted to get her over as a tourist, and the government rejected. Refused, and it's just unfathomable, because I know so many Russians that get visas just like that.
Sure.
And I just can't understand why they refuse it. And then I've been told, she's a flight risk, and I'm thinking, I don't get it. She's got mum and dad here. She's got a daughter. She's got a good job. So I just don't get it.
And I don't want to dive into the details, but have you tried a second time, or will you try a second time?
Yeah, we did. We did try a second time,
okay.
and she got refused as well. But after a while, I've been in contact with her and hanging out. I just proposed to her, and then
maybe that, and not to cut you off, but I mean, maybe that's a deciding factor, is if she was married to you, then there might be a
well now we're applying for a marriage visa.
Yeah.
So but the process is so long. We started about a year ago, and then we're just organising documents and waiting for this stamp of approval, and getting this letter, getting this T crossed, and getting his I dotted.
From this side, right?
Yeah. Not yet from this side, but also from the Australian government side, where they said, you've got to have X amount.
Okay, so
this document, that document. You've got to jump through that hoop. You've got to go through that, and it's just a real pain in the neck.
I don't look forward to that when and if my wife end up doing that on the American
I think you
side.
might have it a little bit easier being married.
Yeah, I mean, and we're coming up on next month 6 years.
Congratulations.
6 years is thanks. It's congratulations, definitely. Maybe for her more than me. It's I think it'll be a little bit easier. We were thinking about doing it before, like when we had just gotten married, and I was like, I think we need to wait. I think we should wait. And I don't think I was ready to leave either. I was like, I like Moscow too much. But so you have a soon to be wonderful lady.
Yeah, and the process is almost there. Like we just got to get the translation properly done. Not the translation, but the PDF format.
Okay.
So we're going to do that this weekend. Send it off, and hopefully within a week, the process will start. So it'll take anywhere between, who knows, 3 months, 6 months,
6 months,
12 months, 18 months.
When you get the answer back, that's how long it took.
Exactly. So I mean, we've been patient so far. So another year, who cares? Yeah.
So in the amount of time that you've been here, you've worked for anywhere from like language services to a school. You've also had a couple opportunities to work with some private families, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So has that been a mixture of good and not so good?
Yeah,
has
both.
it been interesting?
But it was the extreme. The first family, if you look up the word arrogant, I think their photo might be there in the Pictionary. The second family were fantastic. They were really lovely folk, and I'm still in contact with them. They live in Switzerland now. But I'm not sure about the first family. I think they got done for tax evasion. So it's a little bit of karma.
Coming back around.
Coming back around.
Oh, you guys, you're from Australia, the boomerang. Came back around and just hit them right in the...
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So yeah, there was both extremes. You know, bad experience. First family, second family, fantastic.
so did you have those opportunities where like you're on a nice huge boat in the Mediterranean and you're teaching English to the children? No. A friend of mine had that. No. He sends pictures like every other day, and he's like, I don't know, in the port of like what's that famous French province?
Monaco.
Monaco. Yeah, I'm like, not Morocco, Monaco.
Yeah.
And then over to like Italy, down Italy over to Greece, and then making a stop over in Cyprus.
Not so lucky, but I've had some funny wealthy clients. Some other like private lessons.
Okay.
I had this one kid. I nicknamed him FIFA 14 because all he used to do was play FIFA 14 on his PlayStation.
Sure.
So when I go over there, I have all these lessons prepared.
Yep.
And I give it to him, and he's like looking at me as if he stepped in dog do, you know, and like he's like looking at me. And he just threw the paper away. He goes, "Come and sit down here." I said, "Yeah, I'll sit down here." He gives me the PlayStation. I had no idea how to play FIFA 14 until this day. I still don't know how to play. Yeah. But anyway, I got paid a good salary,
Of course.
and
course.
that was my Friday. That was my weekend money, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I had a little bit of change left over too, so it was great. You know, like I'm thinking, and my friends are going, "I can't believe you got a job like that." I said, "Mate, if I had about 10, 15 clients like that, it'd be paradise." You know?
Yeah.
It was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Sometimes I think that at this level, this echelon that these families live at, it feels that it's a lot less about the kid actually learning something, whether it's a boy or girl,
Yeah.
and more about possibly the conversations that they have with their peers. Yeah. Oh, my child has a French tutor and an English tutor and a Japanese tutor, and they have a tutor for this, and it's this atmosphere that they live in, that they need to keep up with the Joneses, as we say.
I gathered, I got the feeling that he was also lonely because he was in this massive gated community just north of Altufivo. Mm-hmm. And I'd get picked up either in a Bentley or the Schmicker's Mercedes Benz, you know, like this big black car would pick me up outside the metro and go in. And then, you know, the gates would open, there'd be a tout, you know, I'm thinking, I don't know what his parents do. I don't even want to know, you know. And
it's probably better.
Yeah, exactly. And like he was a football fanatic, the kid, and I've got pretty good knowledge of football as well. And so we got on.
Right.
And that's all we did. We just played PlayStation. Yeah, it was fantastic. As I said,
I would have just had my mouth keep rolling, just speaking English, you know.
Asking
questions. How do I do this? Because I might as well learn, right? You got to learn how to play.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I was talking about. You know, who was a better player, Ronaldo, Messi? Who's your team?
Yeah.
And he couldn't believe when he'd pick Real Madrid on his FIFA 14, and I'd look up and go, oh, you know what? I'm going to pick Hamilton Academia, you know, and he'd be like looking at me going,
"You're gonna lose.
What do you want to play this shit team?" That's what he's saying. I said, "No, don't say shit. It's just say not a good team." You know,
right?
I said, "Of course, it's a good team." You know. What are you talking
Think
about?
Think of some adjectives to describe it instead of shit. You know,
He was totally bewildered. Like I'm thinking, why would you pick a team like that?
This is a less experienced team.
So my plan is to beat you. You know. Yeah. So like it took him a while to figure out that. You know, I was just taking the mickey out of him. Really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. You should have told him, look, you picked Real Madrid, but you didn't realize that they took the piss last night. my team's been, you know, on a vegetarian diet for the last 2 weeks. So, I mean, they're revved. Yeah. And they've got something to prove. Your team, what? You're defending. And when you're on defense, you're not really playing really good offense. You know, you're just like, oh, you know, we're Real Madrid. You know, like who are you? Oh, we can send our third line guys and wipe the floor with you. Yeah. But I mean, of course, it's a video game. Exactly. But yeah, so you've dabbled in a little bit, and so at the moment, what are you mainly teaching? Are you teaching at a school?
Yeah, I'm teaching at a school as an ESL teacher, but I've got a year 8 English class on the Russian curriculum, based on the Russian curriculum, and in the same school, but I'm mostly ESL.
And we're not gonna discuss school names, but the school that you're at, is it more or less known in the expat community, or is it a Russian school?
It's I don't know if it's really well known. I don't think it's as well known as like the BIS, the British International Schools, or whatever, but it's got a pretty good reputation. I mean, some expats know it. Hugh, my friend that you interviewed previously, he recommended me to go and teach at the school. Okay. There's a couple of them. They're Russian-based, Russian curriculum with a heavy emphasis on languages. Like one might be French-based, but a lot of them are English, like this one.
What has been your maybe your experience with traveling?
Traveling? I've extensively traveled through Europe, mostly Western Europe, Eastern Europe. Been to Slovenia, like that's what my family are from, my mum and dad.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
because I noticed your last name, and and it sounded Eastern European, and I was like, really? It's to me actually when I guessed I was like, if I ask him, I think it's going to be like maybe Serbia.
Pretty close. Slovenia. Yeah. I've traveled Thailand a couple of times, to Bali. Where else? I've been to the States once, long time ago, back in about 92, 93.
Once is enough.
Been to California. No, it's good.
But
I enjoyed it.
I was going to say, I think California suits you. I don't know you that well, but judging, you're Australian. I think
culturally it's very similar.
Yeah,
that's what I found.
Yeah, I spent some time out there.
I'm curious to go to your neck of the woods, New York.
Yeah. It's we're a little tough, but we're caring tough. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, we had that hurricane that hit like 10 years ago or something like that, and everybody just comes together. You know, it's like if everything's fine, it's like out of my way. You know, as soon as there's a problem that affects mostly all of us, like, all right, come on over. You know, like hook you up.
I think it's very similar to what's happened to Australia with the bushfires recently. From what I gather, like it was pretty horrendous. You know, and we had a prime minister who decided to go for a holiday in Hawaii in the middle of it. Which is,
you guys got it covered.
I mean,
it's burning. Yeah, what are we gonna do?
I don't know.
Like I'm gonna lose this timeshare if I don't.
I had so many people asking me, well, what would he do? I'm thinking, you know what? Don't ask me. I didn't vote for the guy, so
don't vote. You don't get a say. That's it. But have you done any traveling other than Ekaterinburg, maybe St. Petersburg, here in
just around the Golden Ring.
Okay.
Yeah, the towns around Suzdal, Vladimir.
Yep. Sergei-Posad.
Yeah, Sergei-Posad.
Down south over in Kolomna.
No, I haven't been there yet.
Kolomna's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, they're almost all the same. Almost.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Once you get out of Moscow, Vladimir's a little bit bigger of a city.
Yeah.
You know, Suzdal's you can walk all of Suzdal.
Yeah, of course.
You know,
it's very, very medieval. I find that's what I find.
That's what I thought.
About it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought about
Suzdal. Stuck in a time warp.
I was like, should I put on my metal gear and get a horse or something? Yeah, it was really cool though. Banya.
Oh, I love the banya.
Yeah.
I like saunas. I like banyas. The first banya I went to was in Ekaterinburg with that family. They had a friend that lived in a dacha just outside of the town. Very primitive banya. It was wood fired, and
it's still hot as hell, right?
It was hot as hell.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm thinking if I'm going to stay here for another minute, I'm going to explode.
It's done.
My head's about to pop. You know, like I'm thinking, please, please, please.
Open that door, jump in the snow.
Yeah. No, but it was in the middle of summer. So
it was in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
Was it close to a lake? Was it close to any
No,
water?
we had showers. We had the bucket.
You had the shower. Okay.
Ice cold buckets, and it was just so. It was orgasmic. You know, when it all said and done, I'm just sitting down thinking, oh my God, I haven't felt so good in my life. You know.
Yeah.
But at the time, I'm thinking, I'm about to have a cardiac any second. You know, it was just that hot. You know, like I've never experienced it like
how long were you in there for?
About 5 minutes.
That's it. 5 minutes.
5 minutes. It was searing hot. It must have been, I reckon, about 200 degrees Celsius. It wasn't.
No.
There was something ridiculous. Wow. You know what I mean?
I'm not holding to the number,
but there was no temperature control because they were throwing like wood and coal and whatever in the furnace there.
And this place, how big was it? So we're sitting in this room.
I'd say the area of our table virtually.
So this room is probably what, maybe 16 square meters?
It would have been. So would have been definitely half the size, even smaller.
So you're sitting in like just a cubicle about this big. So maybe 8 square meters, 7 square meters.
So the men went first, the women went second. Like myself and 2 other guys, all naked, just beating each other with birch. I'm thinking, this is really strange. You know, like,
it is. Yeah. No, you don't like.
Thinking, okay. Yeah.
There's nothing like. Maybe it's just because like.
And these guys are complete strangers. You know, like 24 hours ago, right? I'm thinking, okay. And while we're getting beaten with this birch, I'm thinking, oh God, you know, I'm feeling a bit hot here now. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the skin, the blood starts rushing to the surface, and the heat.
Yeah.
I'd probably have a panic attack in there. Like, get me 5 minutes.
I'd say 5 minutes.
Man.
Yeah, it was searing. It was absolutely hot.
I used to go to saunas when I lived in Germany, and a lot of the Russians actually go to this town called Baden-Baden. And
I know Baden-Baden.
Yeah. So and German for bath, right? So but known because it has a lot of natural hot springs there, and in these saunas, you can sit in there for 30 minutes, 40. So I've never been to banya. Yeah. So 5 minutes, it's just almost like,
but this was
how is that even possible?
This is a medieval banya,
it has to be totally different.
Yeah. There was no controlled temperatures or anything like that. The sauna I go to gets up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Not Fahrenheit, Celsius. Yep. And you can withstand it 10, 15 minutes, no problem. Put the water on. Yeah, okay, you're hot,
right?
Whatever. But this was uncontrolled. It was like being inside a volcanic crater. Like
it's unbelievable,
friggin' hot.
So this is a little more difficult of a question, but nonetheless, what adversities, what negative things, what things have you seen or experienced here that I don't know, maybe wouldn't have happened back home, or
pickpocketing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever had that in my home.
I've had it a couple of times here. You just learn never to carry your wallet in the back of your pocket. And I noticed all the Russian guys carry the little pack? like a purse, like one of those carry bags. Yeah. And when I first got here, I never really cottoned on.
It looks weird.
Yeah, I was never really thinking about it, until I got pickpocketed. And I'm thinking, okay. And then I noticed, then I started looking. It's not a perverted sort of thing, but I started looking at the derrieres of all the guys, when they're walking through the metro. I'm thinking, you know what? No one's carrying a wallet in their back pocket, right? I'm just like looking at all the asses there. I'm thinking, no, you ain't got a wallet. No, you ain't got a wallet. No,
it's not good for your health either.
No.
It's not good for your health. Don't sit on a cold bench.
No, but then I realised why they had their little purses.
Right here.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, or those little carry bags.
Yep.
Yeah.
You want my stuff? You got to unzip it.
Yeah.
You got to rip it off. You got to cut it. You got to do something. But
now you always carry your wallet on the front pocket. That's it. Yeah.
No, I always put my passport in my right shoe.
I never even carry. I never even carry a passport. I've got the photo on my phone.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I do too. I usually carry a physical and a digital, just a color copy.
I've been pulled over once or twice by the coppers, and they asked me for my ID. And I said, "Listen, I just don't carry my wallet, my passport, because I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose it. Here it is. Here's on my phone.
Safety, because we're talking about pickpocket. What's your experience been with? We'll talk about just general safety. I mean, how would you say it compares to Sydney as far as safety?
I think it's on par, and it depends on where you are, and it depends on what time and what circumstance and what sort of state you're in. 9 times out of 10, if you're inebriated, juiced up with alcohol, it maybe a bit easier target. Yeah.
People can kind of pick up on that.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was jumped a couple months ago. Russian. He was out 4:00 in the morning, and just finished up at a club. He was probably heading to Metro to go home, and 3 guys. He doesn't remember much. Just 3 guys jumped him, and he was, I guess, more or less unconscious until almost 8 in the morning. And I mean, a lot of people. It's 4:00 in the morning on a weekday. People get up and go to work probably starting around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. But even then, people tend to keep to themselves.
Yeah.
Right. They, if you're laying on the ground, there's probably a good reason, and I'm not getting involved in that situation.
He's
right?
probably drunk and
just let him sleep it. And just, they're actually quite nice like that. Right. Like, don't let him, don't bother him. He's sleeping, it's cold. He has no jacket. And there's snow on the ground, but we're going to leave him alone, right? So, of course, he maybe gets some help. He comes to, ends up somehow arriving in the hospital. He doesn't remember anything up until he's in the hospital. And so, his nose is broken, his wallet's gone, some other things, his phone's gone. But I still think, personally, that being from New York, Moscow, for me, seems a lot safer. It at least feels safer, especially in the center, right? So if you're within the Sadova Ring Road, I always see pretty much cops everywhere.
Yeah.
Your experience?
Yeah. Pretty much the same. As I said, the ungodly hours of after midnight, between midnight to 4 o'clock, lots of alcohol. You've got a target on your head, and I think it applies to every city. Yeah,
I would 100%
especially if they hear you as well. Oh, okay, he's an Iностранец. So okay, we're gonna
right. They start here. You're getting on the phone, or even if you're with a friend or something, usually if you're on a phone, because I don't think they're going to target you if you're with somebody else. It's one extra problem to occur. Somebody can get away, or somebody can call for help, or something like that. You're listening to the Get Up and Get Out podcast with Steve Crisell. This is episode 003 with Dom Vatovec and Ed Salisch. Let's get back to the show. Anyway, I think it's one of those things, you read on your embassy website, and it's like, they have these lists of recommendations, and what it boils down to in my mind is, don't look like you're a foreigner. Like, and it's like, how do I do that? Do I have to wear tight jeans and I think old clothes or something? Do I not have to wash my hair for a week? What does that look like?
I think, unfortunately, Russia suffers still from a stereotype, a stigma. Maybe because of its relationship with the West,
maybe.
But half the things that the Department of Foreign Affairs say, you're thinking, really?
Yeah.
I know lots of guys that came here for the World Cup, and they were pleasantly surprised. They're going, and then they're
like, oh, my embassy's full of crap.
And then the Russian doubters back home and said, well, that's because Putin told all the mafia to lay off everyone. Now,
do you think he did? Do you think he did?
No, of course.
Come on.
No, but that's the rubbish that you
Yeah.
that's the rubbish that you got to listen to, right?
Yeah.
You're thinking, what, you think everything is like
Snap the
snap of
finger.
a finger? I
Yeah.
said, no, I don't think so. I said, did you ever happen to believe that, people here are actually nice? They want to be hospitable, Oh, no, they're told to do that. I'm thinking, yeah, okay,
It's taken me a very long time, unfortunately, but stereotypes run deep,
Yeah, unfortunately
and
they do.
when my friend called me 8 years ago, I'm terrible at math, early mid 2012, he said, "Hey, there's a family that wants you to teach English to their children," and I'm like, "In Russia?" He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "I'm not going to that communist country." And I hung up on him. He calls me. He was on Skype. He called me back. He's like, "Was there a problem with the connection?" I'm like, "No, I broke it." and I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, they're willing to pay you, blah blah blah." And I was like, "That's a month?" He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "I'm packing my bags now." Like, I mean, money apparently is very important to people, but I I was amazed at how I was like, and it's only 4 kids. What are they slow or something? Like, I was like, what's the problem? I was like, did they have a lot of other teachers? Like, are they evil? Like, what's going on? And then and I came in September of 2012, and I was like, wow, they're normal people, right? And they want the best for their kids, and they can afford it. Really great family. But it took me a really long time to get over the stereotypes. And even as a person that lived in other countries, because you bring your baggage everywhere, and you can make fun of the Germans, and you can make fun, wherever it is, right? But I gotta say that some of the best people that I call my friends are Russian. And you got comedians that are like, it doesn't matter, the French accent. Oh, it's so sweet. I think it was Trevor Noah or something. He did a piece about it's still the Russian accent that pretty much scares anybody. Even the hardest people in Brooklyn, like you're in the Bronx, you put out the Russian accent and all of a sudden everybody runs away. It's like that one accent that, it's just like, all right, just chill out, dude, So, but you can go to banya with a whole bunch of strangers, you can hang out at a bar, and all of a sudden at the end of the night, you've got 5 new friends. Really, like, these people are serious. They're like, I want you to come and, have dinner. Like, I've been offered multiple times.
Me included.
I'm in Germany, never happened. Never happened. Latvia, absolutely. I mean, they're introverted, and I'm not saying these are bad countries. These are my experiences.
Yeah, same here. Same here. And I've been wondering why I've been coming here for the last 10 years. Like, I thought, okay, I'm only going to come here for a visit. I'm only going to do a teaching stint for 1 or 2 years, and I'm still here. It's almost like a narcotic, isn't it?
Yeah. It's almost hard to leave.
And people who haven't experienced that, or people who haven't been here, don't really understand.
No, they just ask you, "What are you, crazy?" Yeah. And they don't ask you any constructive questions either, really. Yeah. And if they do, they're just waiting to set it up for another joke. Yeah. But what's the future hold for you and your fiance? I mean, barring any crazy things, a year, 2, 3, you guys, you're eventually what, gonna move back?
Yeah, move back. Look, I'll keep an open book. Who knows? But the options are there, and that's the good thing.
Yeah.
Ideally, I'd like to go back home, but who knows?
You don't have another femme fatale, huh? Like,
no.
She's
that was
okay.
a one-off. That was a one-off. Loved her to death, but she was crazy as.
Do you see yourself like coming back for like the family visits and things like that every year, couple years, something like that?
Yeah. She can come back and visit anytime. As I said, like the future, who knows what's going to happen? But ideally, I like to spend it back in Oz. She's trying to set up an internet business now on fashion. So hopefully she can get an income, a passive income anywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
So she's doing her best to try to establish that. I'm listening to Hugh before, opening up a business.
Right.
Wouldn't be a too bad an idea.
Oh, she should think about maybe like Estonia, the e-residency. For a business that would make it really truly global.
Yeah.
That would be a good start.
And you can make an Australian style cafe, even an Australian pub. Something a little bit different.
Why not?
Getting sick of Irish and English pubs here. Yeah.
We need some Aussie love right here in Moscow.
American bars used to be popular, but now they're starting to decline.
I think they're setting them on fire. Just get rid of them. I actually don't. I mean, aside from Papa's over by the Kremlin, I don't know.
There used to be the Standard Bar.
Oh, the Standard's gone.
But that's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think they were just too big. They were just. I mean, the overhead there in Kitai Gorda, and it was right below Hooters, and I don't even know if Hooters is still around. One of my favorite bars was and is always Propaganda. Which has been around. I think it is still the oldest, still running restaurant bar in Moscow.
Oh, it's a nightclub. Yeah, plays house music.
That's where I met my wife.
Okay.
Yeah,
very good.
And I'm not saying that's why I like it. I'm saying I like it because I'm from New York. I used to be a promoter for nightclubs, and that is probably the closest to a New York City nightclub. Barring the size, usually the nightclubs in New York City that were playing house and trance music were much larger. We used to go to this place called the Limelight, which was actually a converted church that still had the altar and Jesus Christ on the wall.
Awesome.
And where the priests used to change was the kind of bar area where you could relax and get away from the music and actually have a conversation. But they had spiral stairs. It was a crazy. You're in a church. You're dancing and partying, and some people are popping ecstasy and stuff like that.
Unfortunately, in Sydney, we had these things called the lockout laws because of some disturbances happened a couple of years ago. But now they've relaxed the laws again. But for the last 5-6 years, Sydney has become a dead end town. Like things used to shut up at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning.
And that's how it is right now.
It's relaxed its laws now again.
Okay,
because they've realised they're just absolutely losing a small fortune. Yeah.
I heard
it was a really good, like back in the 90s and 2000. Like you could virtually party in Sydney every night of the week for 24 hours virtually.
A friend of mine just went to Sydney. He had a great time. He's gay, and the gay community seems to be really very strong in Sydney. He made a stop over in Melbourne, but that's not how you say it, right?
Melbourne.
Yeah. Melbourne.
Yeah.
Melbourne. All right.
Melbourne.
Well, okay there, part. I've heard a couple Aussies I hear it and it's just like you drop a letter or something. Melbourne. I think the consensus is that Melbourne is a little more of the party city of
that was
Australia.
because of the ridiculous lockout laws.
Okay.
Now they've been relaxed again. Well, it's going to take a while before the mentality gets picked up again.
And have you, even at your ripe young age, do you still enjoy going out?
Of course.
Here in Moscow?
Yeah.
Where are some of the places that you kind of recommend?
Look,
that you like.
Well, I live in Novokuznetskovo, and
you're in the heart.
Exactly.
Where do you want to go?
Exactly.
It's there.
Exactly. It's
BQ bars there.
Yeah. BQ's there. Dorogia.
Dorogia,
yeah.
Get to be Perzvanu.
Yeah. It's like Punching Judy's or good.
Punching Judy's, yeah.
There's lots of great places. Propaganda's a great place to go and dance.
Right.
Lurme, Lurme or something like that. It's in Treskaya.
Yeah.
They play good house music there.
There used to be, I don't know if it's still around, right at Tverskaya, in Izvestia. There used to be a place right there. That was look-in rooms. It's a little on the fancy side, a little glitz glamour. Want to be seen.
Yeah, it's like Mendeleev Bar.
It's a little higher end clientele.
It's hit or miss with the face control. Like one day you get in and thinking, how the hell did I get in? And then the next day,
I'll shut up.
I'm there with these glamorous girls and all these guys, and it's like, sorry guys, you're not coming in. And then all of a sudden you see these old German guys going in. I'm thinking,
wow.
This is really weird. But
yeah, that's another conversation about face control.
But I've been seldom rejected from face control.
Me as well.
Mendeleev Bar, I've been in twice. So it's like a 50-50, sometimes yes, sometimes no. But that's a really, if you got a bit of cash, it's a nice place to go to.
Partying on the island, right in the center.
Yeah.
Over at what is it? What is it? Old school. Over where Gypsy is.
Yeah.
Where the old Oktyabrskaya chocolate factory.
Yes.
Icon.
Yeah.
On the other side you have Strelka bar.
Strelka. Yeah, Strelka's nice.
Really great summer spot.
Yeah. These are all walking distance, so it's great.
Yeah. I mean, you can walk home. With someone. Well,
with someone. Yeah. in a sober state.
The buddy system works. So I've got this part of the show. It's basically like a blitz round. Sorry for the German word. So basically what it is I'm going to give you two choices and you choose one of them.
Okay.
All right. Let's try it out.
All right, sure.
Vodka or scotch?
Oh, vodka.
Pelmeni or vareniki?
Oh, pelmeni.
Club or bar?
Ooh, I have to toss the coin there. Bar.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Down under ball or the Irish ball?
Oh, down under ball.
Early to bed or early to rise?
Oh, isn't that the same thing?
maybe we should say late to bed, early to rise.
Early to rise.
Early to rise. Eating out or cooking at home?
Ooh, I like eating out.
A Russian cuisine you can't live without, if there was one, is one.
Oh, Russian cuisine. What's that salad that looks like a cake? I always get it mixed up.
A salad that looks like a cake.
Yeah, it's got that real colours. It's got beetroot and...
Oh, are you talking about solotka?
Solotka, that's the one.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, I like
you like that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I like that.
Our buddy on our last episode, Hugh, he was like, no way. Can't stand that. Get it away from me.
No, I love it.
Yeah, I'm not a fish guy, but I eat that quite easily.
Yeah.
So in 3 words or less, tell me what you think. Blini.
Blini. Хорошо.
Vodka.
Отлично.
Bears.
Oh, stereotype.
Caviar.
Вкусно.
Pelmeni.
Pelmeni. Нормально.
Moscow traffic.
Doesn't affect me.
Metro.
Отлично.
Car sharing.
Don't do it.
The Golden Road.
I don't know what it is. Is it to exit Moscow? Is it the Golden Road?
Basically it's this connection of like kind of church towns.
The Golden Ring.
The Golden Road, the Golden Ring. Неправда.
Золотое кольцо.
Yeah. The Golden Ring.
Отлично.
I'm gonna have to change that. I don't know why I say Golden Road. You're right.
Oh, it was
You're
like
right.
the
It's
Wizard of
Golden
Oz.
Ring.
Yeah, the Yellow Brick Road.
The Yellow Brick Road. The Yellow Brick Road. Follow. Look, I definitely want to say thank you, Dom, for coming in today. I want to acknowledge you for choosing Russia, to choosing to have an experience in life, and toss caution to the wind and come over behind the curtain and check out and see what's going on. What is there? And don't
die wondering.
Just kind of almost childish in a way to just say, I wonder. And you've been doing it for a little bit of time, and it doesn't look like just anytime soon. It looks like you'll still be with us.
Yeah.
I do look forward to hanging out at a bar and maybe having a glass of something with you in the future.
Yeah.
If people want to contact you, what are some ways they can do that?
Oh, they could contact me on Facebook, Dominic Vatovec, Dominic Vatovec, or they can contact me on Instagram, Domvat, Domvat.
Domvat. Domvat.
Just one word.
At Domvat. At Domvat. Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah.
With
a vodka.
Might be easier.
Yeah.
That's how I learned Russian.
Yeah, of course.
It's crazy.
I have a couple of vodkas, you're fluent.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, I know.
Отлично.
Yeah.
Dom, thank you so much for coming in. We wish you all the best, and maybe we'll get you back on a show in the future to see how you come out with the whole process with how things are turning out.
That'd be great, Stu. My pleasure.
Awesome. So yeah, Dom, thanks again for coming by. But I think it's time for us to get up.
Get up and go?
Get up and get out of here.
Oh, get up and get out of here, for sure. All right.
Take it easy.
Cheers.
Following Dom, we've got Ed Salisch from Connecticut, and he's been here since 2008, and he mainly teaches business English. We get into some very interesting short clip stories about getting registered and his landlord's response, which is a must later in the episode. We get to talk about some of the places he's been to, like the Tank Museum or his travels around and in Russia, some of his favorite food and restaurants that he likes to go to. And at the end, I get to ask Ed a very serious question about his personal experience of getting up and getting out of his country to explore some of the finer things in the world. So I hope you guys stick around. Thank you. This is the Get Up and Get Out podcast. Let's get into the show. Ed, thank you so much for being on the show today. If you could just give people just a little background about maybe where you live here, where you're from, how long you've been here, what do you do here, and then we'll jump into a little bit of the past.
Hi, my name is Edwin Salisch. I'm originally from Shelton, Connecticut. Where do I live? I live in Sokol. The Eagle. No, it's not the Eagle. It's a Falcon in it. It's kind of 3 stops north of the center on the Green Line.
Right.
If you're a fan of the Moscow Metro. Well, I do a bunch of stuff. I teach business English primarily. I do some acting work from time to time. Teach drums. I do some consulting stuff from time to time. I do proofreading and translation. I know I do drum work. Like I do some musical stuff. I mean, basically, like when someone calls me and is like, "Hey, yo, Edwin, we got some. Are you down?" I'm like, "I'm on it, man." Like,
well, I definitely want to say thank you for coming on the show today. Let's jump into what people are looking for. Why did you come to Russia?
I don't know. Just there was something about Russia that always kind of fascinated me. When I was a kid, so about 2 or 3 years old, maybe 4, I was with, it was like May 1st, 1983, let's say. And I was, it was May 1st, and then you see Brezhnev like waving at like, these huge like ICBM missiles like driving past him on Red Square. And I was just like, wow, who is this guy? I mean, of course I was 4 years old, so at the time I had no idea who he was. And my father's like, that is Premier Brezhnev. And I'm like, who's that? And he's like, that is the premier of the Soviet Union. And I said, oh, and what are those missiles for, Dad? He's like, I don't know.
If
if like, if things get really bad, maybe for us, I was like, okay. So that's one of the. So I was like, I like that, and it made me interested in Russia as a general place because I was like, what is this joint? And let me check it out. And so in 2008, when I had the opportunity to come here, I was like, dude, I want to take it, and I jumped on it. And so, yeah.
So you come in, you land in Moscow.
Sure.
Can you describe how easy or how hard or what kind of obstacles were you up against when you came here working for a company? Did they meet you at the airport? Did they help you with apartments or?
God,
so what
this
was
is funny.
You know, like actually kind of like getting to live in Moscow, right? You land, you get your luggage. What do you do now?
So, okay, before I came to Moscow, I called my boss, sent him a message, email, and I said, hey, look, I'm coming to Moscow. How much money do I need to get started here in the city? And he's like, about $1,500. I was like, $1,500 to get set for like 6 weeks? He's like, yeah, that's fine. Before you get settled and everything's cool. And I was like, okay, cool. So I listened to him. So I earmarked about $1,500 US to get started in the city. Okay. Fast forward to when I fly to Moscow, get off the plane, and I get picked up by the girl who was one of his assistants. She picked me up at Dominic Vatovec Airport, and we were going to take the Aeroport Express, but she realized that I had way too much luggage, and so she got a taxi. So we got the taxi. The taxi took me to his office, and then the first thing he says to me, he says, like, well, welcome here, mate. Okay, let's have a chat. I understand you just got here in Moscow and it's going to cost some money to get settled and stuff like this. And I was like, well, you told me to bring 1,500, right? He's like, yeah, that's not enough. I said, man, why didn't you just tell me how much you needed? I was like, if you told me how much I needed, you gave me a number, I could have been like, all right, cool. Then I wouldn't have because what I did is I made a decent, chunk of change when I was in Korea. And then when he told me all I needed was $1,500, so I took the vast majority of my money and I put it into a retirement account. And he's like, oh, but don't worry, I'll give you a loan. So I needed a loan to get an apartment. And I got an apartment. I got a roommate. And then, so what I realized was this guy he was dealing from under the deck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So of course he dealt from under the deck. And I couldn't trust him further than I could throw him. And so I said, to myself, I didn't say it out loud, and say, I don't trust you, sir. But I basically got my shit together. I started working for other companies other than him. And then I put together, I was able to get out from underneath him pretty quickly. And then the financial crisis hit about a month and a half later. Mm-hmm. And he comes to me on like the 28th of November, and he said, as of the 1st of December, you're no longer on salary. We're going to change you to wage. Generally speaking, it's not a bad thing, but how he did it was like he did it with 2 days notice, and it was really shiesty.
No, of course.
Yeah, and so at that point I said, all right, this guy's I don't want to work for this clown anymore. So I like I said, I already started working for other company, and the current company I'm working for right now, when I came back, and I still work for them, I had gotten a job with them and asked them, hey, look, I'm having problems with my current company. And I said, oh, look, I think they're going under. Like, is it possible for you guys to give me a visa? And then the company I work for now, they're like, of course, no problem. And so I changed companies and a couple months later. And then I worked for them for about 7 years. And then I left and I'm working for them again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a good rapport. So where in Moscow did you live during those 7 years? Was it Sokol?
When I first got here, I lived at Brezhnev Vokzal. I lived there for about a month, and then I moved to Oktyabrskaya Poli, and then I lived at Oktyabrskaya Poli until sometime in 2009. Then I moved to kind of in between Tverskaya, Mayakovskaya, and Tsvetnoy Boulevard.
Yep.
It was just somewhere right in the middle.
Sure.
And I lived there for about a year and a half. Then I moved to Mayakovskaya. I lived at that apartment in Mayakovskaya. I lived for about 5 years. That was a great place. Big ups to my old landlord, Roshan. Good guy.
Roshan.
Still my friend. Yeah, Roshan, he's an awesome dude. He's still my buddy. And there are, one of my old roommates, she's still living there, and she's been living there for about 4 years herself. under the original contract. So it's pretty cool. He's a really good guy.
So when you, I mean, in your experience with, basically renting the entire time, was it ever difficult to get registered?
At the time, like up until the world, like midway through the World Cup or at the end of the World Cup, like you would get registered with your company.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was never a problem. You just, when you were going out of the country, you just tell the company you're working for, you're like, hey, look, I'm going out of the country for a day or two or a week or 2 weeks or a month, whatever the hell. You know, make
and they would make the necessary adjustments.
That's right. And then once you got back, you just had to, with the first business day, once you got back, then you go to their office, you hand them your passport, they take care of it. Take care of it for you. Boom, you got your registration. You're, bing bang boom, you're done. You're done. But no problems. So when I got back here in April of 2018, so I got a landlord over by Krasny Presence like near the zoo. Anyway, so he seemed like a friendly enough guy. But of course when I moved in, he's like, I'm not going to be able to register you. And I said, okay, that's not a problem. I'm going to get registered at work. Now, of course, 3-4 months later, the World Cup ends. Our good friends in the Duma decided to change the law. I mean, that's their business. And so I call him. I send him a message like, hey, look, I hate to bust your stones, but look, when I leave the country, the latest would probably be in December because it's my father's birthday. He's turned 2018. My father turned 70, so it was like a big deal.
Big deal.
Yeah,
sure.
Because like his father didn't make it to 70. The fact that he made it to 70 was a huge deal, and so it was like we wanted to go celebrate that stuff. And here in Russians would generally understand that here because like Russians are very family oriented people.
And anybody reaching the age of 70 in Russia is probably there's going to be a party.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, yeah. And so, anyhow, so I said, look, man, most likely, anyway, but I'm going to need you to register me. And he's like, that wasn't in the contract. We said that we wouldn't be able to register you. Da, 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 da. I was like, oh, listen here, man. I didn't make the law, man. Like, I'm just telling you the news, bro. Like, that's your biz. And I literally sent like RIA Novosti and like Izvestia, like,
Sure. This is the proof.
The proof was like, look, it's not me being a dick. It's just me saying, telling you the situation. Here's the sit rep. Listen to what I have to say. I mean, if you don't want me to live here, that's fine. I could go find another place. Like, I don't need to work. I don't need to live in your apartment. Like, because you don't want my money, no, I don't need to give it to you. Yeah. Fair enough.
So what was his response?
His response was like, Bliad.
For my non-Russian speaking community, what Ed meant to say was, oh no.
Oh no!
So I'm sorry for your landlord.
That's all right.
Cool. It is what it is, and you're right. It was a lot better when companies could actually register their foreign employees at the place of business. But as we all know, it does actually make sense that you are registered in the place that you live.
Sure.
But even where I live, my landlords don't want to register me. So you're in a very sticky situation. And I want to say to my Russian family that's listening, not just my personal Russian family, but my family that is the Russian compatriots that could be listening to the podcast, is that the stereotype is gone. We're not here to take your apartments, because apparently there's a rule, or there was a rule, where when you register someone in your apartment, they are given certain how you would call maybe inalienable rights to that apartment, right? So if I was renting from you, and you registered me at that apartment where I live, technically, I kind of have some sort of ownership abilities of that apartment. Sure. But it's the same thing in America, or maybe any other modern civilization.
Sure.
You live in an apartment. The landlord doesn't have the right to use a key to come in whenever they feel.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be like that, like here.
So,
I mean, it never happened to me. Like, it never happened to me where my landlord or landlady would come without my permission. But I've had plenty of friends who here in Moscow, they said that like their landlord or landlady would come into their apartment without even like giving them notice that they were going to show up.
And but actually under the Russian law, I believe I'm not looking to my buddy Valeri for legal advice, but I'm pretty sure that still is the case, and I think it still is illegal. I don't know if I can get a yes or no, but I don't think landlords can come into your place of living even if they own it without maybe even just calling. I think it's just more of a respect thing. Okay, so maybe the contract comes into play that we can just show up and 24/7 whenever they want to.
Whenever you want. Like, just not
I've been fortunate.
Like
I think you've been fortunate. I think most of us have really been fortunate that landlords really do respect your privacy, and they can call you ahead. My I actually have technically 4 landlords, but three of them you call them собственник, right? So owners, the owners of the property, they actually live outside of the country. There's only one that lives here in Russia, in Moscow.
Oh, okay.
But he's got his own family, he's got his own life, and we pay, on time, electronic means. So,
that's cool.
But you've go into a little bit, if you can, about maybe some of the things that you do enjoy about the country. You can talk about maybe like some travel, or maybe something that you like about Moscow itself. I mean, what do you like to do that you feel that you can do here more than maybe other places?
I mean, I don't. It's just like here in Moscow. I mean, I just like the city. Like, I mean, it's hard to say like what. I mean,
beach Shelton, North Connecticut, right?
Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, I don't want to disrespect my hometown either. Like, I mean, we did create wiffle ball, and I mean, that's national pastime.
Blow the doors open, wiffle ball.
Boom. That's right, wiffle town, baby. What? I mean, what I really like about Moscow is that it's just like it's open. There's lots of stuff to do. There's always something happening, and there's always something happening. There's always people around. There's always things and people to meet and activities. Like if you want to play sports, you can play sports. You want to, when I was younger, I used to play more sports. I was on a softball team for a while. I was asked, I almost was going to start coaching football. But there's always something to do. There's, like if you like sports, look, there's ice hockey, there's not baseball, there's basketball, there's boxing, there's soccer, there's other activities. You like art. I mean, look, Moscow has plenty of like galleries that you can go to. I'll go to art places from time to time. And if you love history, I'm a history buff. I love history. So every so often I'll go to like the history museum. I really love those guys with the cool spear that they put the arquebus on top of. Like, I love that. I love that shit. I'm a huge history buff. Like, every so often I'll go to Borodino. Just to see where the battlefield was, the Napoleonic battlefield. Mm-hmm. Also, I was not too long ago, back in January, I went to the Tank Museum in Kubinka, and oh man, oh my God, that is just an amazing place to see, all the armored vehicles. And like, I mean, one of them, it looked like it's like a Mercedes-Benz with like a 1920s Mercedes-Benz, like with like 3-inch plate armor on there. And you're just like, and it's got a, 230 caliber machine guns on top. And I'm like,
serious
sweet.
Business. It's cool.
But I mean, I wanted to go see the Park of Patriots, the Air Force Museum, and like, and there's I also wanted to see the Partisan Park. Mm-hmm. Which I heard was even more awesome. But so there's lots of cool stuff to do here in the city. I mean, and I've traveled around Russia. I've been to Irkutsk. I've been to Kaliningrad. I've been to St. Petersburg. I've been to Kazan twice. I've been around, outside of the city. I haven't been everywhere. And I mean, of course, Russia is the largest country in the world, but I mean, there's lots of cool shit to see. And there's always lots of people to meet, and the food and Russian food. Like when you find the right spots, like Russian food's fire. It's fire.
Talk about the fire. Tell me what do you dig? What do you?
Geez. That's just a good question. Like my favorite is I love rouletiki. Solyanka. Oh God, I love Solyanka. Oh God, I love Solyanka. And then Boroditsky bread. Oh my God, fellas, let me tell you something. Now, if you like bread, gotta get yourself some Boroditsky. Let me tell you, stuff's fire. It's like the best pumpernickel you ever had, but better. It's like pumpernickel. It's got coriander seeds on top. And let me tell you, man, like, make a sandwich with that. Make a sandwich with that. Make a sandwich with that.
I don't know this bread. But
you never tried Boroditsky? Oh, come on.
You know what? I'm not going to say I have.
Your sound guy, Valery, is looking at you like you got like 6 heads. He's like Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Like, what are you talking about?
I will say I may have, but I don't know the name. I'm terrible with names, so I very well could have tried it. So what's a food that maybe it's a food that you miss from the States, maybe it's not, but think about that genre of food, and where would you go in Moscow to get it?
I mean, it's really hard because I am from Connecticut, and so the thing is I mean, of course, people think of pizza, they think of New York or they think of Chicago,
right?
But like, I mean, Connecticut, New Haven style pizza is its own thing, and like, it's called a Beats. That stuff's really good. But more importantly is the hamburger. And so, I mean, if I were to say like, what do I miss? I mean, might be that. Yeah.
So we got where you're from. We got that you're here. We got your take on a little bit of travel.
Sure.
What do you do for fun?
Okay, I do a couple things for fun.
Yep.
One of the things I do for fun is I play drums.
Absolutely.
And I'm in a band. The band is called Electric Mustache. And so I play drums. Cool places I like to chill, hang out. Let me see. Well, there's this place in the center called My Bar. The owner there, he's really cool. We've been friends for years. Really good guy. There's a place. There's this Czech restaurant called Chernovar, which I hang out sometimes. And then there's a couple other. A couple other places around the city that I go to from time to time. I've been to Jim and Jack's a few times.
Yep.
And then there's this bar I usually go with a couple. There's Silvers, and there's Patty's, because a couple of my friends they really like the Irish bar stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sometimes I'll go to different like craft beer places.
I love myself a good craft beer.
Yeah, craft beer can be good from time to time. But I mean, to be honest, in my older, now that I'm in my 40s, I tend to drink beer less and drink hard stuff more. I mean, to be honest, I think a lot of it changed because before I came back to Moscow, I moved to Colombia. I don't know, just something happened with my body, and maybe it's the altitude, maybe it's the air, maybe it's who knows what. But I had a harder time, like me and beer stopped being as good of friends as we used to be.
So what would you say is your plan now? I mean, you just you were here, you were gone for a little while, and then you're back. So what's ideal situation? What do you want to happen over the next couple of years?
My goals right now are primarily travel orientated.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is by 2025 to crack 100 countries.
Okay.
I've been to like 80 something right now.
Oh wow! So you're on target. I mean,
yeah. I'm on target. I went.
You hit 3 countries, 4 countries a year. Yeah, 4 countries. You're 80, so you only 20 left. So you do 4 a year.
Yeah. I mean, because last year I pulled. New countries last year. I had Honduras, Nicaragua, Portugal, Ghana, Togo, Benin, and Senegal. That was last year.
So you hit 7.
I had 7, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so like I said, my goal is to...
I'm not an envious guy, but I envy your ability to get up and be proactive. And when you travel, you usually travel alone.
Well, sometimes. I learned a lesson when I was 20 years old. Because when I was 20 years old, I was studying in Austria, in Salzburg, Austria.
Yeah. And
I made some plans with this guy. He was supposed to we made plans that he was going to meet me in Budapest, and then we were going to travel through basically like Romania, Bulgaria, down the Balkans together. And this was 1999, and it was cold. It was like January. And I'm waiting on the train platform for this dude to show up, and he didn't. And so I was sitting at a cusp. I was like, do I wait another day for him, or do I just get on the train and go? And I was like, get on the train and going. So I've kind of come to the conclusion since I was 20 years old that, like, look, life waits for no one.
Nope. That's right.
So you can't live your life waiting on others to be available for you.
Yep.
So, when people can come with me, I'm happy to have them. But when they can't, I'm like, all right, I'm going on my own.
Well, I definitely appreciate you saying yes and having the opportunity to come on the show today. By not waiting for anybody, just getting out of your door and coming over and visiting us. I want to invite you to take control of another situation. We are going to do something that I call a blitz round. I'm going to give you 2 words and you get to choose one of them.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. What's your 2
All right, here we go. Vodka or scotch?
Scotch.
Pilmeni or Vareniki?
Vareniki.
Club or bar?
Bar.
Coffee or tea?
Neither.
If coffee had liquor in it?
Tea.
Go to bed late or wake up early?
Wake up early.
Eat out or at home?
Out.
Russian town where you had the weirdest experience. Don't talk about the experience, just the town where you had the weirdest experience.
God, I don't even know if I can remember the name of the damn place.
It's not Moscow. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it's not Moscow. No, it's this village near Irkutsk, like right next to the Baikal Lake. That I don't know what the name of that place is anymore.
If you had to give a title to like the experience of what happened, what would you title it? Like if it was a book, what would you call it?
Doggy capsize.
Doggy capsize.
That's right.
Uh-oh. Let's keep on moving. I'm going to give you a word, and in 3 words or less, tell me what you think of it. Okay?
Sure.
Blini.
A fun non-swear word.
You know that blini is like blinchik, like this pancake.
Yeah, I know, but I know blini.
Okay.
Blini is also.
I got it. So
bleen.
Bleen. Yeah.
I always say bleen every day. I say bleen.
Okay, so we got blini. Vodka.
Polgar.
Bears.
Masha and the.
Nice. Caviar.
Red.
Pilmeni.
Fresh.
Moscow.
Smetana. Delicious.
Oh, give me all 3. Nice.
Yeah.
Moscow traffic.
Better than Bogota.
Metro.
Fast. Crowded. Comical.
The Golden Ring.
Golden Ring. Like Vladimir and stuff. McGoyan Factory. Because I know you could go to the McGoyan Factory, and that's technically in the Golden Ring.
Awesome. So if I told you to give us maybe in 1 line, sentence or 2, what would you say has been like the best or culminating experience of you getting up and getting out of your country, going abroad?
I mean, I don't know. The one word's adventure. Like it's phrases like adventure, keeping your head on a swivel, paying attention, life, living, seeing what is there to see. Exploration, balling, kicking ass, taking names, mafu. Danger is no stranger. I don't know. Like I have all these phrases that go on through my head, like that say, like, why did I leave the States? Why did I do this weird thing that I do? My goofy life, and I would say it has to do a lot with what blows my hair back, what gets me out of bed in the morning. It's what drives me as a person, and what drives me as a person is the thrill of the kill is not the challenge of the chase. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not the thrill of the kill, it's the challenge of the chase. I love the challenge of the chase. I love the chase of life.
That was a very good answer. How can people contact you?
I guess you could contact me on my email address. My email address is edwinichka@gmail.com.
Edwinichka.
That's right, Edwinichka.
All right.
Or you can get me on vcontacti. I'm under Disgruntled from my old band Disgruntled Pineapple. And you'll see the picture of my old mascot Manya Ananaskina. She's a mutant pineapple warrior who's out to kill. That was
nice. Actually, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you for coming on and sharing with us your lively story that is your life, and being a part of this adventure that we're trying to accomplish here on the Get Up and Get Out podcast. We want people to have a voice. We want people to share their adventures with others, their tips, their tricks, the do's, the don'ts. So, I just, I really appreciate you as a human being, as someone that lives their life on their own terms and, doesn't settle and is willing to go out there and try new things. So, kudos to you. And I wish you all the best in your life and success. I think the last thing is for us to say is really simple. I think it's time for us to get up and get out of here.
Fair play.
Thanks so much for joining us today, and maybe we should keep in touch.
Well, Steph.
Thanks a lot, Ed. I want to say a huge thank you to both Dom Vatovec and Ed Salisch for coming on the show today and making episode 3 really, really great. It was so wonderful to sit down with both of these fine gentlemen to rip into some of the stories behind their travels and their reasons for coming to Russia and what makes them stay. It's so unique that you get to interview so many people, and even though we all have similar stories, we all have, of course, very different stories. So thanks to both of you guys for coming out and talking to us today on the show. So I want to say a big, huge thank you to all of you, my listeners out here, and please find some time to head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. When you write a review, this basically helps us with feedback and helps us to grow the show. Please feel free to share it with your friends or people that you think would enjoy listening to these types of episodes. Please feel free to send us a message if you feel like you'd want to be a guest on the show at guests@gugopodcast.com. Stay tuned because next week we have a very special guest coming on the show, episode 004 with Chris Helmbrecht. He is Moscow's foreign DJ. I don't know exactly how else to put it. He's been around for over 16 years. This guy, the man, the myth, the legend, Chris Helmbrecht. Please stay tuned for episode 004 coming at you next Monday. You guys have a great week. Thank you for stopping by. This has been the Get Up and Get Out podcast with yours truly, Steve Crissell. Have yourselves a good one. Until next time.